The question is, did he know that he hit another car? Did he know that he left Scott Wilson in that canal in his vehicle to drown? He says no. Did he, in fact, go and get drunk after the accident? Do you believe that story? How did that come across inside the courtroom? All this comes back to one issue, which is credibility. Is he telling the truth? Is this his moment of truth on the stand, or is it a moment filled with lies? Let me bring in my guests joining me today. All right, Jose Lambier, publisher of GossipExtra.com, my friend. There he is. Also with us, criminal defense attorney Michelle Suskauer, who's inside that courtroom for much of this testimony. Also with us, the Haas, Sonny Hostin. And with me here in studio, body language expert Patti Wood. Patti is also the author of this new book right here. Let me show it. There it is, Snap, Making the Most of First Impressions, Body Language, and Charisma. Charisma. All right, Patti, I've got you here. Let me just... Big picture. I'm going to go around the horn and get the big picture from everybody. Is this guy telling the truth?
He's often saying, I don't know. Over 18 times in just a 4-minute piece of testimony goes, I don't know, I don't recall. And the pausing there is consistent. So his baseline is a lot of pausing, what we would normally see in somebody that's lying, but he's doing it to almost all the questions.
Okay, so he may have a peculiar way of speaking. And Patti, let's go to the videotape and take a look at some of John Goodman. You tell me what you see, what you hear. Let's take a listen.
You really, really woozy drinking that much alcohol in that short a time.
I don't remember. I mean,
You don't remember if it made you know how you take a drink and if you drink it real fast, it goes right to your head. And it's like, ooh, that went to my head. Is that kind of what it was when you drank 11 to 14 of them?
I don't recall.
You don't recall that?
I mean, I remember it not being a pleasant experience.
All right, what do you think of that? What do you see there?
Well, you hear that pattern he has through this testimony of that staccato where the vocal cords get very tight and rough. That's a signal of stress. It's consistent with a lot of his answers, but not every single one. And you also see him do a lip press.
There it is.
The lips together right there, where you're withholding information. Now, sometimes that's an indication of withholding emotions, but in this case, because of the timing of that lip press, there's information that he does know that he's not saying at that particular question.
All right, let's take a look at another one now. Here, I think he's on the witness stand and he's actually showing some photos. Let's take a look at that moment.
Is that your medication that was in your backpack in your car or your sack, whatever was in
It
the
was
car?
a backpack, I think, yes.
Is that a backpack?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, I believe it's, what is it, 26A through C in the evidence?
Any objection? No, Your Honor. States exhibits 26A, B, and C in evidence without objection.
Now, Mr. Goodman, why did
What'd you see there?
Actually, a combination of cues that I saw quite a few times in the testimony. You see him do a sniff, that sniff in.
Right.
Interesting timing on that one as well. He only does it after an I don't know answer, typically. And that's very unusual. Typically, people do the sniff if they're lying. They sniff in the truth. That tells me he's saying I don't know, but he's sniffing in. That means, again, he knows something. He knows something. You also see him wipe his nose, too. He's very much under stress with that particular question. And also when he handles those photos around the pills, when he hands them back, we see him go down in a shame position. The head and the body retreat back in shame, as he has to admit those were his pills in the backpack.
All right, Patti, in that denial, did you see anything?
Well, it's very interesting. When he was asked about the bump on the head, you see a whole flurry of behavior. He retreats, he furrows his brow, he brings his head all the way down to his chin about the bump, which tells me he's retreating from that particular response. There's fuzziness there.
All right, let's take a look at some more of the things that we notice here. We'll go to our videotapes again. This is John Goodman, the defendant, testifying. Let's take a look.
you were talking about, Mr. Black was talking about a few days after that when you and your lawyer went back to Chris Campson's barn and you walked over to Lisa's. I missed that. What happened then? Why'd you do that?
Can you ask the question again, please?
Mr. Black.
really interesting. You see the prosecuting attorney with using that arms crossed?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's very weapon-like. She's protected, but she's attacking him. And that mirrors him, but as soon as he responds, he can't match her. Typically, if you're agreeing, if you're telling the truth, you would match even the prosecuting attorney. He goes immediately into a cannon and fires back. She attacks with pen, he fires back with his cannon.
That's interesting. All right, let's take a look at one more piece of testimony from the defendant, John Goodman.
Diagnosed you with a concussion.
I don't know. If I had I don't know. Well, I know I'd been knocked out. That's what I call it.
That's what you call it, okay? So in your opinion, you had a concussion, but you never sought neurological consult or help for that concussion, did you?
I had with my wrist and my chest, and I didn't realize until the next day or so when I started piecing things together.
You never had an
What'd you think there?
Okay, we see that stumbling again, the stuttering, the pauses, the before he responds, the ahs 2 or 3 within the response. The only time, there's some the exceptions are what's interesting. He remembers that he didn't mix alcohol when he was drinking after the accident.
Right.
That's a very strong no. He remembers about talking to somebody after. That's a very strong no. So there are things he remembers extremely well. To have had the bump on the head, I would, if he was telling the truth the whole time with the I don't knows, if it was consistent the entire time.
So you're seeing a difference in the way he's saying, I don't know.
Right. And I'm looking for what his baseline behavior is. He's giving a turtle response, but with those few exceptions, it makes me uncomfortable. Why is he sure about the alcohol?
Yeah.